like I'm a misfit. And I thought I'd give you all story time about how I got pregnant with my first child at 19. Well, as you all know, I maxed out of DCF, and I had met somebody who, right after that, who is my abuser, my first abuser I ever had. And after I left him, I met somebody. Well, I met somebody, and he was a bit of a little bad boy, but I didn't mind it. His name was Bobby Watson, and he was pretty known for his hands, really good looking. And this is gonna be a little bit fast at the same time. And I was at his house, and one of my friends had her boyfriend come to his house where I was at to come get me to show them where her sister lived. So I went. Now, mind you, I'm at the person that, like I said, that was a bit of a, a bit of, bad boy. But he wasn't there. I was. So I left out with no shoes, no nothing. And as I'm in the car, I'm like, okay, you gotta take this left over here, this right. They're like, oh no, we're not bringing you over there. She told me to come and get you. And I was like, what? I was like, Bobby's gonna be here behind when he finds out. They were like, yeah. Well, lo and behold, the reason why I want to say they kidnapped me is because her boyfriend had a brother she wanted to introduce me to. Well, when I got there, I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what did you do that for? Blah, blah, blah. She was like, girl, put these clothes. I said, I have no clothes on. She was like, girl, put these clothes on. We're going to a party. A house party. So, okay. It was it. So, I go to a house party, and me and this guy, we lock eyes. And I'm like, oh, he's kind of cute. And I'm dancing with somebody. He's dancing with somebody. And while I'm dancing with somebody, he's dancing with somebody. We're both holding each other's hand. I know, it's crazy, but it's really real. So, now, I'm going fast forward. Now, I did not like the person who she tried to hook me up with. It wasn't there. Now, I'm fast forwarding all this because if you want to know about the brother part, you're going to have to go to the other videos. I already talked about that already, so I'm fast forwarding this. So, to make a long story short, I wind up getting pregnant by the person who I met. But I already talked about this already in my other videos. Okay, you guys will have to go check that out. So I wind up getting pregnant by this guy, which I didn't know I was pregnant by until actually when like a few weeks after I had him, I knew that was his. But I had sex with the brother that I didn't like. You know, it was one of those times, and mind you, I just maxed out. I'm 18. This is fast. I just maxed out. I'm 18. So I had that sympathy sex with the person. So when I was pregnant, I thought it was his because one time, well, the time that it was on a Valentine's Day, me and the girls, because it was 3 couples living with each other, and we went out. When we came back, there was girls in the house. Everybody's pulling up their pants and all this kind of stuff. We caught them shooting. So that was the day that I went to my child's father, which I didn't know was going to be my child's father, was on Valentine's Day, and that's when we conceived our child. It was on Valentine's Day. This is a true story. And I didn't know it was his literally 2-3 weeks or something like that until my child did face. I was like, oh my God, this baby looks like him. So I tried to tell the brother. He wasn't trying to hear it. My son was fine as hell. Okay, so he didn't want to accept it. Didn't want to accept it all the way until 13, like my child turned 13, they asked for a blood test. I was like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have to, hide it no more, which I didn't hide it in the first place because I said it. He didn't want to believe it, so I left it alone. So that's how that went. And when he was 13, that's when my son found out that the person wasn't his father and the other person was. Now I have to rewind all this. Back in our day, we were all friends. Even though we didn't know that we were the same kids, shared the same father, we went to mother's class together. We were really cool. It was a family back then because it was just a family back then. So nobody was more upset because they still loved my child. The other side still loved my child as if, even their siblings, they kept saying, oh, that's my nephew, even before he was even born. So I really didn't get no slack over it, you know what I'm saying? Because, we were just still friends. I can't even explain it. But, trying to make a long story short, all that happened. Now I turned 19. How was I supposed to know how to be a mother? I just maxed out of DCF. So this is how much we bonded. Even though even though I didn't know this at the time that was the father, I just fast forwarded so that you guys can just get a better look. When I had my son, I was, traveling to places where a child had no business being, even though he was well kept, dressed, jewelry down, the shoes, everything. And the aunt and uncle, the brother, always had my son. I was always there sometimes, but they really basically had my son most of the time until he turned 3 years old. When he turned 3 years old, that's when I was like, I gotta stop all this, and I got him, and then that was it. I never turned back. So from 19 all the way to when I turned 21, I moved out of town, and that's when I started having my other children and trying to learn how to be a good mom. I didn't know nothing about being a mom. I just got out of maxed out of DCF. I just got abused. I don't want to mark myself. I got a scar on my body, on my head, from the first, guy that I had in my life. And then the guy, Bobby Watson, I just had left him. He had a bit of a reputation, but he didn't bother me. He didn't do me like that. He used to call me his good girl because I wasn't in the streets like that, So being a mom and being my first child, he was a guinea pig, but I loved him, all my children. I tried to give him love, more so, because he was really rotten as a kid because he was spoiled. He had two daddies that loved him, and still do. And they understood that I didn't have that love, so I was always protected from the guys, not too much the girls, but I was always protected from the guys. The guys always protected me, like Willie Brown after Bobby Watson. Willie Brown, my daughter's father, he was like this, and he always watched over me. He was my best friend. So I really want to give you all a story time about how I got pregnant at 19. A lot happened at 18, all through my life, but I want to share that with you. And I'm not perfect. And I'm trying to let you know, you guys see me at my worst. I'm big, small, all this kind of other stuff. So, and I'm just trying to give you guys some truth about me. I have nothing to hide. So, that's about it. If you want to know about the other stuff, you guys are going to have to go and see my other video. There's a lot of them telling me the truth. It's the Black Diamond Misfit. This is my story, and I'm the only one that can tell it. Bye.